Hey everyone, it's Esther from Real Stories. I hope you guys are doing all right. How's everyone doing? Hanging in there? Quarantine? Going okay? We're in week 5 of this, I think. And it certainly is, getting more challenging, I feel like. It's definitely challenging for me as we are trying to figure out what the future looks like and how we're going to get out of these uncertain times. But really proud of the work that we've done at Real Stories to move things online. So I hope you guys have been checking that out. We had a really great week of different talks and an amazing impact producing workshop this week and a premiere workshop. And we started an After Effects class online. And we're going to be doing more stuff next week. Next week's all about documentary filmmaking. So I really hope you guys can join on some of those. And then we have our Instagram lives every day, somewhere between 11 and noon. We had our alumni takeover with Clarissa Lamb, who is incredible, and she took over today. So on Fridays, we give you guys a what to watch list. And we often invite someone from our community to come and give us some of their best ideas of what to watch. And so I'm really excited for today because we're going to have the executive director of Bay Area Girls Rock Camp join us, hopefully in a minute or so, and give us her what to watch this weekend list. And that's really exciting because Bay Area Girls Rock Camp is actually kind of where Real Stories started from. I was on the board of directors, I was one of the first board members, and I was so inspired by what they do. But I am not a musician, so I decided to form Real Stories and to do very similar work around media and equality and work in partnership with Girls Rock Camp. So I've been really excited to work with SEP over the past almost 2 years now to figure out different ways that we can coordinate together. And frankly, SEP is like a million times cooler than I am. So I'm excited that she's going to join us any minute now and tell us what her recommendations are for the weekend. And in the meantime, keep checking out what we're doing on Real Stories. If you haven't checked out what we've been working on, just go to our website, real-stories.com. You'll get a list every day at Friday, which is today. I'm still having a hard time figuring out what day of the week it is, about what the next week's activities are. And, they've been, the Zooms have been really filling up quickly, so try to register when you can. And as always, with all Real Story stuff, if you need, if you really want to join something and you're just in we're all having tough times right now, so just email me at esther@realstories.com or esther@real-stories.com, or DM us if you need a code to reduce the tuition. I mean, we're charging $10 to $15 for these things. So we're thrilled to be able to offer them. And I'm really excited to be able to invite Seth in right now. We'll just take a second. And hopefully everyone do weekends even matter anymore? I don't know. But if they do, I hope you guys have good plans for a good weekend. Hey, Seth!
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for your kind words. And I think you're incredibly cool, so.
You hanging in there during this time of quarantine. How have you been surviving? What are your self-care tips for people right now?
For self-care, I've been making monthly movie lists since October. Each month is a different theme for myself. And it's usually themed around horror, but today I have all sorts of suggestions. But watching the movies at night has been really good for me, just to witness the art that people have been able to do throughout the ages. And I'm kind of personally, I always try to see the upside to everything, and I'm so excited for what kinds of films will happen in these times, because we both know about low budget DIY kind of doing it on the fly. And given the circumstances around us, big productions aren't really going to happen for a while. But I'm so excited to see what independent people, young people like Camp Real Stories youth, or just independent filmmakers, what we can come up with during this time. I think it's going to be a very exciting time in cinema.
I totally agree, and I actually think that there's an onus on us and also the folks from Rock Camp to document this time, because we're in this historically unprecedented time, and I don't want to look back on it and only see like a white male perspective as we look at all of our other history. So, and we know through other terrible times, the arts lead us out, and even though it's hard to get people to value us sometimes, like we are the folks that are going to be documenting and creating what our new world will look like. And I think it's super important, and I think why what both of us do is really important is, you know, so often the youth perspective and youth voices are just diminished all the time, and we just can't do that anymore. I mean, we see all the time how, you know, young people are at the forefront of change and at the forefront of organizing and at the forefront of being creative and coming up with creative, inclusive solutions. And so I just think it's so important that organizations like ours and so many others that are serving marginalized youth in an creative art form just thrive, because those are the voices that we're going to need at the center of the story. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what Rock Camp does, and then I'd love for you to talk a little bit, because I know that you are also a screenwriter, and that's another way that we connected, not only over what our organizations do. So if I could put you on the spot to talk about Rock Camp, but also your own screenwriting and filmmaking.
Of course. Rock Camp is, Bay Area Girls Rock Camp is a music empowerment organization. It's open for self-identified girls, trans, and non-binary youth to partake in instrument instruction and guitar, bass, vocals, keyboard, drums. They form bands, write an original song within a short amount of time. They partake in a lot of social justice and skill-building workshops. And by the end of the program sessions, they perform live. Well,
yeah.
You know, we witnessed it.
Yes, totally incredible.
It's just like beyond seeing what youth are capable of in such short amount of period.
Great. Well, so it looks like it's pretty gray today. It looks like it's going to be another gray weekend in quarantine. So let's give some folks some things to watch over the weekend. What are your suggestions, Sep?
I have like a ton. If
Great.
That's okay.
Yeah, okay. No, I think the more the better.
So they're themed. So I'm Iranian, and watching Iranian films, especially like women-centered Iranian films, has been really helpful to me. So my list for the Iranian films I think people should watch starts with Women Without Men by Shirin Neshat. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
It's amazing. And honestly, I've always felt disconnected from my past, like Iranian history, and I'm trying to like understand how the revolution affected my life as an Iranian immigrant, how it affected my parents' lives. It's not set during the revolution, but it's set in the 50s for all the different things that happened that built towards what happened to Iranian society in the 70s, through women's stories, 3 different women. It's amazing. And Shirin Neshat, she's an amazing obscure artistic art house filmmaker. So she has short films online that people can access on Vimeo. And she actually had an exhibit at the Broad in LA that I went to as well.
Cool.
Photographer. She's just incredible. I highly recommend her work. That's
awesome.
Yeah, and then my other recommendation is this movie called Offside, and it's an Iranian film by Jafar Panahi. I'm starting to speak Farsi.
Great. I won't be able to understand you, but that's okay.
But it's about these young girls who want to go watch a big soccer game in Iran. But in Iran, sporting events don't allow women there. So they dress up as boys to be able to go, and they get caught. And it's them being held in this pen, talking to, it's called Offside. They're held in a pen, and they're trying to convince the security of why they should be able to be there. And it opens a really interesting and important conversation about gender politics with the Iranian context, you know?
Wait, let's say that one more time. Are you saying offside, like offsides in soccer?
Yeah, Offside.
Okay.
My other movie recommendation is Under the Shadow, and this one is a horror film, and it's one of the best horror films I've ever seen. I think it was the best of 2016, and it was ranked the best. And it's about this woman and her daughter, and they're coming up against this Iranian mythological deity called Jinn. And when I was a kid, I was scared of Jen a lot. It's also like centers a woman's life, what she goes through, like in 1988, which was also my birth year during the Gulf War too. Yeah, it's an incredible film, Under the Shadow. And then my last Iranian film recommendation is a movie called Circumstance. Circumstance was 2008, I believe, and it's about these two teenage girls in Iran, and they form a romantic relationship between each other. And in Iran, there's a lot of restrictions on same-sex relations, and it explores that in a really like unique way, and brings up conversation about like state surveillance of
Oh yeah.
like that. I actually, when I was coming out to my own mother, I showed her that movie as context.
Yeah.
You know, and now she's just like all about it, loves my partner, everything like that, you know. She so yeah, the power of film.
Yeah.
How it affects things like
Right.
that in our lives. Highly recommend Circumstance too.
So with those films, are they? How do you recommend people see them? Are they streamable? Can we just find them online?
So a really good way to find what streaming services have these films is this website called Just Watch. Have you heard of it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just Watch will let you know. I actually don't know which of these films are streaming. I should have figured that out. But if you type in these titles and in Just Watch, you can find where they're streaming.
And then someone just asked, what came after Under the Shadow? Is that Circumstance, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Circumstance.
So, again, the list: Women Without Men, Offside, Under the Shadow, and Circumstance. So that's the Iranian films. I have more, but I can cap it.
Well, no, we can add more, but we will put these on our website and social media as soon as we can pull that off, but probably before the end of the day as well. So anybody that's not catching all of these awesome film recommendations, we will also post them both on Instagram and Facebook. All right, what else you got? Because we got a lot. We got a lot of time inside, Sep, and we got to like figure out other more interesting things to watch.
Definitely. Well, I have so I like Czech New Wave films. These movies.
I love Czech New Wave films.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to film school in Prague.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you're definitely probably familiar with this list.
Yeah.
So the obvious one is Daisies. Her name is Vera Chitlova. That movie is a really surreal, fun. I don't know. It's an experience, definitely, and hugely influenced my own like filmmaking. So love Daisies. Valerie and Her Week of Wonders.
Oh yeah, it's a great one.
It's super good, and that one like does horror in a very artful way, which I really like. Because we both kind of talked about like the gore and the misogyny.
Yeah.
Of horror films. We're not about that, but there's
not about that at all.
yeah, and but Valerie and Her Week of Wonders is really cool. It's a weird coming of age story of a young girl too. And my last one in the Czech New Wave recommendations is Morgiana. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Morgiana's really good too. It's very gothic, and it's about like these characters based on the cards, like the Red Queen and the Black Queen, and their conflict between each other, and it's told in a surrealist way.
Cool. Excellent.
Thank you.
That's a great list. Do you guys have other stuff you want to add?
Just my last one, and this one is the most accessible one, and it's very relevant to youth. And I just watched it the other day. It's a queer teen movie, and it has so much like it's like bursting with like knowledge about like what young trans or queer kids' lives are like. And it's done by an independent filmmaker named Samuel Shanahoy, and it's called So Long Suburbia. And you can just find it on YouTube. And,
cool.
it's an hour long. It's a really enjoyable watch.
Awesome. That is an amazing list. It's interesting, the Czech New Wave. I mean, I'm really not super knowledgeable about Iranian films, but it's such an interesting you know, a lot of Czech New Wave came out of like the oppression that was happening in Czechoslovakia, and now to the Czech Republic, of, you know, having one country overrun them and then come in for another country. And so film was one of the few ways that they could kind of share their stories with the world, because nothing else could get through the censors the same way. So it's interesting that you have both of those suggestions, which also gives us a view into parts of like our, you know, the world that we don't normally get to interact with all that much. So I think that's also the other huge power of film. So that's an amazing recommendation. I have a super much light-hearted recommendation for the weekend, which is Birds of Prey, which was the last film I got to see in a movie theater before this whole time. And I just loved it because I felt like there's so rare times that you get to see like women in, like, first of all, like, you know, in all of the somewhat superhero roles, even, and then often they were like villains, but still like got to be the protagonist, which, you know, they were really complex characters. And I think that that's really, you know, especially in like comic booky films, it's just so easy to have all of the characters be really one-dimensional, but these characters were really complex. And then also the women like work together to overcome things versus just like trying to, you know, fight off each other and like be catty to one another, even though in the end, not to give anything away, but they were not all that similar. So there wasn't like a romantic ride off into the sunset and be a girl gang together sort of situation. I thought was very sort of realistic for an incredibly unrealistic film, but it's also very fun in a time when maybe some people want something lighter to watch, of just like a good old like fight action superhero villain film.
It's pretty too. Like,
it's so pretty.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Female director. It's either Kathy Ann or Cindy Ann. I just forgot. So, but yeah, and it's just really, and then like, who doesn't love Rosie Perez? Like the fact that like she's in it is amazing. So, well, it's super. I'm really, really glad that you were able to join us today, and I look forward to other ways that we can collaborate. And I just would encourage folks, if you have not checked out Bay Area Girls Rock Camp, to check out what they're working on. I know we're all kind of trying to figure out what our summer plans are. And for those of us who have kids, and also for those of us who run summer programs. And so I know that we're all working on some really cool stuff that even in this age of quarantine, we're really going to be able to make sure that girls can, and non-binary and gender expansive kids can connect and work on cool creative projects together. So definitely check out what they're doing. And then also continue to keep an eye out on Sep's amazing screenwriting, because I can't wait for those films to get made. I think it's incredible what you're able to do. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Yeah, well, we'll do it again. Let's figure out another like list. Let's make a like more targeted list, like our favorite whatever films, period pieces or something. Like, I think we can just keep growing on this.
I'd love to.
Okay. All right. Have a great Friday and hopefully a great weekend, Sep.
Thank you. Take care, Esther.
Bye. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, we will put up Sep's amazing list of films on our social media in the next couple of days. So hopefully we'll be able to check those out. And then Birds of Prey, I think you can rent on Amazon Prime if you're looking for something for tonight. Again, make sure you're following us on social media. We are like every other organization out there, just trying to keep our doors open. So if you're loving what we're doing, we would be thrilled to get a donation from you. You can either Venmo us at real-stories, or you can sign up for one of our classes. And also, if there's stuff that you're really dying to learn, just DM us and we can try to put it on our schedule of list of like workshop offerings. But we definitely have some incredible Q&As with experts coming up. If you want to know about documentary film, we've got Noam Argov this week, who I just adore. She's just such a badass female documentary filmmaker who does really, really amazing, amazing films, and also has an amazing personal story. So that is this coming up this week. And I'm actually going to be working with Robin Bykowski, who's an incredible media teacher here in the Bay Area and also a documentary filmmaker. And we're going to be doing a media literacy workshop this week. So for parents and youth that are trying to figure out how they can view media more critically and thoughtfully, you can join us for that. That's free, but you will need to register. So take a look at our website to get updates on all of those. Thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend.